Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Sunday night version of StudentLoanJustice.org live stream. My name is Alan Collins. It is Sunday, September 26th. Wow, September just flew by. I hope everybody is doing well out there in the world. We are Student Loan Justice. We are the oldest and largest and in many ways, only true citizens group, grassroots, fighting for student loan justice. So for many years, that meant very moderately the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. But at this point, folks, the lending system is done. It's toast. By all rational metrics, it is finished. Even before the pandemic, 80% of all borrowers were not making payments on their loans, not paying. 50%, and another 30% were paying, but their loan balances were going up. So before the pandemic, 80% of the people were screwed on their student loans. That's only gone up since then. It's time to cancel the loans. We started a petition on change.org in March 2020 calling for the executive order from the president to cancel the loans, which he can do, by the way, without needing one dime from the Treasury, without adding one penny to the national debt. So our petition is now over 1 million signatures. It should be over 20 million or 25 million, quite frankly. This is how terrible this lending system is. But whatever the case may be, we also have very good legislation, H.R. 4907 in the House, S. 2598 in the Senate. The second bill the Senate bill, S-2598, will return bankruptcy protections to federal student loans. That House bill I mentioned, 4907, will return bankruptcy protections to private student loans. So when now, not knowing much about student loans, which is most people, you should know that the loans have got to be canceled. Of that, there is no doubt. But as a practical matter, what is going to cause that to happen? In other words, in order for meaningful, widespread, hopefully total loan cancellation to happen, we really have got to get bankruptcy protections returned first. And that may be one of the more important things I will say tonight. But anyways, if you have any questions or comments, throw them out. And if I can see them, which is always an open question on Facebook. Oh, okay, there it is. If I can see your comments, I will gladly respond to them. And, oh, hey, Jason Rosner, how are you? By the way, quick announcement. Speaking of Los Angeles, where I happen to know Jason is, we will be screening our film at the University of Southern California Film School October 14th. And I will have more about that in the coming week, but we're very excited. Oh, and by the way, recently we screened our film at at a college in Georgia, Morehouse College, the Morehouse College Human Rights Film Festival. So that screening went this weekend. I hope you got a chance to check it out. If you didn't, then go to scaredtodeathmovie.com and watch the first episode. Check it out for yourself. You have to pay $5. That money is being used to fund future the rest of the series. So episode 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think 6. So do that. It's well worth it. So tonight I want to talk a little bit about public service loan forgiveness, folks. You know, every month or so we get one or two people coming onto our group saying, "Wah, wah, wah, I'm going to get my loans forgiven through public service loan forgiveness." What are you, la, 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 like they're like trying to rub it in our faces or something. Like, I don't know what they're thinking, but here is the fact about public service loan forgiveness, folks. The rejection rate up to this date for public service loan forgiveness is 98.6%. The federal government has demonstrated time and time again that they have no desire, no intentions of canceling any loans through public service loan forgiveness. They will find absolutely any and every reason they can possibly find to not cancel these loans. That's how they roll. That's how they've always rolled. So you want to be aware of that. Now, I should say, I think I misspoke. I was under the impression that Congress needed to appropriate money to cancel loans from the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. Well, it turns out that apparently they don't, although I'm still doing some research because I swear that there was a $550 million appropriation a few years ago that they were using for that. But whatever. So it looks like I have to retract that comment. I hate admitting that I'm wrong, but whatever. It's important. So apparently Congress does not need to appropriate a dollar for every dollar canceled through public service loan forgiveness. So that's a good thing. But folks, listen to what I said at the very first thing. 98.6% rejection rate. Now, here's another little bit of simple math for you. And this is very important. To make it through public service loan forgiveness, you have to have a yearly employment certification form filled out. And on an annual basis, we now know that the Department of Education rejects about 30%. Well, kitty. Okay, go cat. I just had to put that in there. We know that on an annual basis, the Department of Education rejects about 30% of people who fill out their employment certification forms for one reason or another. Maybe their employer got decertified out of the 501 program. Maybe they work for a union. Who knows? But for whatever, maybe they didn't cross an I and dot a T. But the department denies 30% of these employment certification forms on an annual basis. Now that sounds like maybe kind of good, right? Like, okay, well, 70% of the people should make it through. No. See, here's the thing. You have to get these things approved every single year. So statistically speaking, you have a 70% chance of getting your ECF approved every year. Statistically speaking, the chances of getting that ECF approved 10 years in a row, well, the math is simple. It's 0.7 times 0.7 times 0.7 times 0.7 times 0.7, 10 times. So it's 0.7 to the 10th power. And it turns out that turns out to be 0.028. So absent everything else, just blind statistics would indicate that your chances of getting 10 years worth of employment certification forms approved and accepted decrease over 10 years to 2.8%. So in other words, 2.8% of the people will successfully get their ECFs approved 10 years in a row. So, and lo and behold, right now we're seeing that the success rate for public service is like 1.6%. And so these are the sorts of vanishingly small percentages that we're talking about for the public service. Not to mention, every year Congress tries to, or somebody, or maybe even the president under Trump, they try to kill the public service loan forgiveness program, or they try to cap the public service loan forgiveness program. The point being that if you really think that you're going to get your loans canceled through public service loan forgiveness, I'd say you're clinging to false hope. Anything could happen to kill this program. Anything can happen to get your ECF denied. Anything can happen to get you kicked out of the income-based repayment program, right? I mean, there's a million ways you can fall out. So to those people who are on this group and they come on and they go, no, I am going to get my loans canceled through public service loan. And you can too. Look, here's a list of people who have had their loans canceled. You know, that's like pointing to a list of people who won the lottery. You know, you can point to them and you can say, yeah, look, it's possible to win the lottery. Yeah, it's possible. But it ain't going to happen for the overwhelming majority of people out there. So if you're one of those people that's sitting on this group and you want to start spreading the gospel about public service, you're clearly not very interested in actually getting student loan justice. You're clearly not very interested in ending this nationally threatening and catastrophically failed lending system. So go take your happy Pollyanna, rose-colored glasses talk And go to your little public service loan forgiveness group where you guys can tell each other over and over and over that you're going to get your loans canceled. And hey, I'm sure a few of you will. But take it off of this group, please. We've got far more important battles to fight, and being roped into your little fantasy is not that. So just go. Just I don't even want to have the argument. Just go. So, anyways, and it's good to have hope, but clinging to false hope is terrible. That's what so many people do. You know, if people would just look at the facts, the numbers as they are, then and be honest about it, then they would help us fight. You know, we have seen almost with everything. There are a lot of people that would love to lull you into a false sense of complacency because they don't want you fighting with us. So they will dangle these carrots, carrots in front of your nose. Oh yeah, you can just stick it out for another 7 years, and yeah, you'll make it through public service. And that makes you very uninclined to fight. This is a battle, and we're losing, if you haven't noticed. We owe $1.8 trillion in student loan debt right now. Hey, it's good to see you too, Jason. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Again, we'll be at USC October 14th. Don't miss it. But getting back to what I said earlier, guys, the thing about bankruptcy. Now, make no mistake, these loans have got to be canceled. We're talking about a full-on jubilee is in order now. Lending systems fail from time to time, often catastrophically. Even in our lifetime, we've seen the S&L scandal, the subprime home mortgage crisis. We've seen a couple of lending systems fail. Well, this federal student loan system has failed far worse than those other two lending systems, far worse than any other modern day lending systems that I'm aware of, like even internationally. So it happens from time to time, and sometimes you have to just kind of write stuff off. And that's what's going to happen with student loans. But in order to get the clean death to this lending system, it all comes back to getting our bankruptcy rights back first. Because the up to $50,000 loan cancellation we're seeing the Democrats wave around, it's ambiguous and it's vague, and I think that's probably by design. Up to $50,000 could mean anything. And when you put in weasel words like up to $50,000, you can bet that whatever winds up happening is going to be some sort of a weird, means-tested, vague, fuzzy thing that's going to be highly susceptible to manipulation by entities like the Department of Education, which we now know and can prove after watching them for many years and decades, they have no desire or intentions of canceling any student loans. It is just part of the DNA of the agency culture of the Department of Education. They don't want to cancel loans. However, with the great equalizer of bankruptcy back on our side, all of a sudden, yeah, you might actually get your loans canceled through public service loan forgiveness. And by the way, in order to prevent a wave of filings that would be large enough to seize the entire bankruptcy court system in this country, the president is going to have to cancel loans en masse, widespread, by executive order. So guys, we've been fighting for bankruptcy for 16 years, and there's a very good reason for it. Bankruptcy and loan cancellation are not two opposing concepts. They're not. In fact, the one depends upon the other. And that is the most important thing that I think I will say to you here tonight. So I know there's a lot of semi-suspicious student loan activists out there. Not a lot, but a couple that I've seen sort of around the margins. And they're like, no bankruptcy, loan cancellation. No. And that's nonsense. The two are not competing concepts. We're not going to see meaningful loan cancellation until we get bankruptcy back. Right? We already saw a whole ton of loan cancellation programs come and go. Income contingent repayment back in the 90s. Public service loan forgiveness, which I just talked about. Income-based repayment is also a loan cancellation program. It's a 20-year, 25-year loan cancellation program. Repay. All these things, in the absence of bankruptcy protections, they are going to be bureaucratized to death. So we've got to have bankruptcy rights back, and that's why S2598 is absolutely critical for federal loans. And if you have private student loans, I strongly suggest that you start fighting very hard for HR 4907. Right now, as it stands, I think we've got a very good chance of passing S2598 for federal student loans. And that's going to be with a 10-year waiting period, by the way. But I don't see a whole lot of movement on HR 4907. And by the way, we've seen that bill come and go in previous Congresses many, many times, going back to like 2008 or 10, I believe. It's been a long time. So if you have private student loans, those are not cancelable by executive order. And so getting bankruptcy back for those loans is very, very, very important. And maybe one final tip that's really important for private student loan borrowers. Don't forget, if you have a fully private student loan, not owned by the federal government, not guaranteed by the federal government, those loans have statutes of limitations. A lot of people don't realize that. Yeah, there's a length of time. It varies state by state. You would want to check the state laws in your state. But private student loans do have statutes of limitations, so you want to look into that. But more than anything, you really need to be fighting for HR 4907. That's going to be maybe even a tougher battle than getting the bankruptcy returned to federal student loans. I happen to know that the private banks are really throwing their weight around. And in fact, the private banks and the private student loan companies, they're kind of the reason why S2598 does not include private student loans, just so you know. So if you have private loans, I don't know what more I can tell you. You got to fight, and you need to do everything you can. And just remember, HR 4907. It's Congressman Steve Cohen out of Tennessee, and he's got like a prime co-sponsor too. All right, guys, I think I've said enough for tonight. So public service is a cruel joke, and we are the punchline. And no matter what the happy talk people might say, 98.6% rejection rate and a 30% rejection rate on employment certification forms, which cumulatively over 10 years indicate a 2.8% success rate, which is terrible. So what else? I said see the film. Okay, do see the film. Let's see. Last thing I will say maybe is if you can donate, it would be super helpful, guys. We are fighting this battle. We're getting very close on many fronts. I hope that you're stoked. I've never been more confident. I've never been able to say that I see the light at the end of the tunnel. But dudes, I see the light at the end of the tunnel after 16 years. So now is not the time to sit back, wait, watch, and worry and hope. Now is the time to be getting off your ass and helping us, because we need your help. And you need everybody in this group to be helping. See how that works? Yeah, this is your problem. These are your loans. Don't think you're better than us. You're not. Don't think you can sit back and the solution's going to fall in your lap. Not going to happen. You've got to help. And to all those people out there who are helping, people like Jason and many other people, I salute you. I applaud you. You know, we are the pioneers. We are the tip of the spear in this battle. And a lot is riding on it, guys, because it's not just the 1.8 trillion out there and the 45 million borrowers who we are fighting for, but it's tens or hundreds of millions of people who are going to follow in our footsteps and who don't deserve to be conquered and enslaved. Okay, the very last thing I'll say, go to our website, go to the daily update thing, and look down the screen there, daily updates. You will see action items, daily actions that we ask people to take. Usually it's on Twitter, so it takes like 15 seconds to do these actions. Do them. Go back like a week or even 2 weeks and do all the daily actions. Once in a while, we have people send an email. Once in a while, we might even ask you to do a phone call, but usually it's very quick, very easy to do. If you want to pull your weight in this battle, start there. So with that, I think I'll bid you all adieu. Let's make this week the best week ever for student loan justice, shall we? Good luck, Godspeed, and God bless everybody. Have a great week.